All right, today I'm going to answer if silent treatments actually work on exes. And in my humble opinion, the silent treatment can be effective on an ex if you want to get them back and if you want to get over them. But in both cases, it requires you to have great emotional control and the ability to take your ex down off the pedestal that you've probably placed them on. Now, I'd like to have an open and honest discussion about how many of my peers warp the silent treatment in the form of the no contact rule for their own gain and completely miss the point of it. So today, here's some of the things that I'm going to dig in on. Number one is, what are the major differences between the silent treatment in a breakup situation versus the silent treatment in a relationship situation? Then I'm going to take a look at what internal research has shown about the effectiveness of the silent treatment from within my program and my coaching practice. And finally, I want to help you understand the importance of finding a worthwhile purpose outside of your ex during the silent treatment. So let's just jump right in and begin. I think there's a common misunderstanding that most people have when they hear about the silent treatment. They believe it's a perfect strategy to use to gain their partner's attention, but what's often missed is this. The silent treatment should only be used for a small period of time after a breakup and not during a relationship. I know this seems like a simple concept, but you'd be surprised at how many of our clients miss this concept completely and almost fall in love with constantly using a no contact rule in their relationships to punish their partner. So here's my declaration. Everything I'm about to say and break down about the silent treatment should really only be used on an ex who has broken up with you. Got it? Good. But most people who are probably listening to this or reading this or watching this have been broken up with from an ex and are often left reeling. So that's not going to be such an issue for them. So often they've surfed online, they've learned a bit of the lingo revolving around the no contact rule and how it's sold as this fundamental foundational strategy upon which your ex will want you back. Now, if you haven't heard of it, then allow me to quickly educate you. Most of my peers define the no contact rule as this period of time where you're ignoring your ex no matter what in an attempt to make your ex miss you. And yes, technically that can happen. However, when we study real people going through real breakups, the results of what actually works might surprise you. And I think the first question that we need to answer revolving around this isn't so much dissecting the effectiveness of the silent treatment. We will do that for sure in a moment. But I actually think we need to create parameters for what an effective silent treatment looks like. Now, usually an effective silent treatment in most people's mind revolves around reactions. So you use this period of no contact on your ex and they react in some way that indicates they miss you. So some of the best examples of this include they're literally telling you during no contact that they miss you. They're texting or calling you excessively during no contact, trying to get your attention again. They're showing up to your house unannounced. They're actually asking for you back. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but more often than not, the silent treatment is not going to yield those results. And that's really my problem with the breakup industry. Many of my peers, and I suppose even there was a time that I was guilty of this, but many of my peers, they'll frame the silent treatment or the no contact rule as this guaranteed way of getting these results. But what does the actual research say? So in 2020, I decided to poll our private Facebook support group full of people utilizing the no contact rule, a form of the silent treatment. So I literally asked them, okay, so for those of you using the no contact rule, how many of your exes reached out to you during it? So the people who have completed the no contact rule, I polled them. I asked them, hey, how many of your exes have reached out to you during it? 62% of individuals who responded to the poll said that their exes did not reach out to them at all during the no contact rule. What does this tell us? Put simply, the silent treatment doesn't work the way you think it does to make an ex miss you. Why?
Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what what you should be doing going forward, and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video.
Well, we think it has something to do with attachment styles, specifically the avoidant attachment styles, which many of our clients' exes tend to veer towards. So one of the interesting things to note about avoidant individuals is that after a breakup, they aren't likely to reach out to you. In fact, they're more dedicated to reclaiming their independence or distracting themselves from the pain of the breakup, but eventually the toll will come. I actually did a video a couple of years ago called How to Make an Avoidant Ex Miss You. And I make this argument that avoidants are free to long for an ex once that person is unavailable out of the relationship and typically out of context, so they're untouched by actual engagement and their deactivation systems aren't triggered. No, this usually reveals their long suppressed attachment and switching their operating attachment wound from a fear of engulfment to a fear of abandonment. So only when an avoidant feels safe will they begin to miss you. And they only usually feel safe when you moved on to someone else, they've moved on to someone else, or a lot of time has gone by. So will the avoidant ex give themselves permission to daydream about your time together? This is why we are flushed with so many stories of exes coming back into the picture months to years after the initial breakup. So this seems to indicate that even though an ex isn't likely to reach out to you during a no contact rule, the silent treatment might be essential for helping them eventually reach out. So it's still an important part of the process. Yet my team and I have learned something else interesting about the silent treatment, and that leads to perhaps the biggest point of the silent treatment on an ex. So in 2020, we started studying our success stories, and this is nothing new for people who have been listening to my podcast or watching my YouTube channel for a number of years or a number of months. You'll see I talk about this a lot. I'm going to do it again. I know I sound like a broken record time and time again, but I'm just showing you what's working for real people. So in 2020, we started studying our success stories. You can actually go to our website and click on the success story page to figure out kind of some of the big insights we've learned. But we really were trying to figure out what separated people who succeeded in the art of getting exes back versus the people who didn't succeed. So one of the big takeaways from this practice was that what separated successful individuals was that they embraced one simple philosophy. They found some purpose that they cared about more than their ex before they started talking to their ex again. Now, not everyone did a perfect job at this, but generally speaking, they tried to embrace that philosophy. And as weird as this sounds, half the battle when it comes to ex recovery isn't relationship coaching. It's more like life coaching, about finding this magnum opus type purpose for individuals. I was just actually on a coaching call the other day. And what's interesting is you'd be really surprised at how difficult finding a purpose outside of an ex is for some people. So my ultimate point is what you do during the silent treatment is even more important than if it's working on an ex. Don't be fooled or seduced by the crazy stories you hear online of these men or women who implement a no contact rule and their ex immediately comes running back. You can't take a chance that you are the exception to the rule. A much better use of your time is to use it productively in pursuit of a goal that means just as much to you as your ex. So for some people, that's creating a new business. For others, it's painting a piece of art, writing a book, recording music, being a better father, being a better mother. Devote yourself to that purpose. Become a master. And I promise you, your ex will begin to take notice. They'll feel like they're missing out. They'll realize they're missing out, I guess. But that's not the point. The point is you're realigning your priorities so that your world doesn't revolve around your ex, but rather your world revolves around this greater purpose. You're living for more than yourself. You're living for more than just this relationship with your ex. You know you found a worthwhile purpose when it's all you can think about. Time and energy once spent obsessing about an ex is now spent obsessing about achieving this goal outside of your ex. Only then should you make a decision on if you want your ex back or not. Only then should you actually go forward on trying to get this ex back if that's what you decide you want to do. And because it really puts your whole situation in perspective. So for me, a silent treatment isn't about manipulating an ex. It's about taking back control of your life after a breakup. Of course, it's up to you to do that. So what are you waiting for?